9 years ago today, Australia suffered through its worst natural disaster in recorded history. 173 people lost their lives, and for that reason, I want to have a minute's silence on my channel to honour their memories, the people that fought the fires, and the people like me who still carry it with them. G'day guys, Chris here from Vo-Gus Prospecting. Today we have a really awesome little product to show you. I want to give you an opportunity to see one of the prizes that you can win for my fundraiser that's starting off in March. I'm going to give you more details on how to enter that later, but for now I'm going to give you a look at the Croc Gator. Here it is. Look how small this thing is. It's only 18 inches long, and I'm really excited about it. I'm more excited about this than I was about the freshie that I won off Facebook. Croc have kindly donated this unit. It is worth $300, and if you've watched any of my videos where I've been using my freshie out on the streams, then you know that these sluices can pack a lot of power. They have a very fast processing rate. But the reason I'm so excited about the small one is for what I like to do. I touched briefly in my last video the difference between prospectors and miners, and I'm going to explain that more today and why this is so important to that. So I'm a prospector, I'm not a miner. If I was a miner, I would be someone like Parker Schnobel, Tony Beats, someone like that. They're miners. They're guys that know where the gold is, and they set up their equipment and they dig it out of the ground. When you're processing dirt, you are mining. So if you're out there with a high banker, or you're out there with a river sluice, or even a pan, or a full-blown mining setup, what you're doing is you are mining the earth. You are not prospecting. What a prospector is someone who goes out and looks for the gold. Looks for the gold on a creek like this. A creek that is overgrown, is remote, it's hard to get into, and it takes months to figure out where the gold's coming from, and where it's going to, and where it's ending up. So that's what a prospector is, and I do a lot of it. I can't sit in one spot. Once I know that there's gold in the area, I don't really care about the area anymore. All I want to do is go find the next area. So I do a lot of prospecting. So why is a small sluice so important to prospecting? A small sluice is important to prospecting for this reason alone. It is because there are a myriad of places to trek. Look at this. We've got a tributary coming down off bedrock, and look at how much heavy gravel is here. This would be a good spot to test. So we come down here and we look, oh, there's a nice bend there with some heavy gravel. Ooh, over here, there's a tributary that's been cut off by this tree. I wonder what's down there. Ah, this is where it meets. There's another spot. There is literally hundreds of spots in a very, very short distance. Like, you're talking about, what, 30, 40 meters behind me? Not even far. And if I was to do this with a pan, it would take me forever, because I have to first punch through the overburden and get to the wash layer or the pay layer. To do that, you have to move dirt. And yeah, you can do it panning, or you could just knock off the overburden from the top. But there could be flood gold in that overburden that will tell you what kind of gold is in it. So utilizing a small sluice to process that overburden and run a shovel test where you might push 20 to 50 shovels through a sluice very quickly will give you a better idea of what gold is in the ground than panning will. Now, the reason that small sluices are so important over a big sluice is weight. Because if you're prospecting like me, you're out in remote areas. You're out in areas that don't generally get accessed by anyone. You usually have to cut your way in through blackberries. You have to go down remote four-wheel drive tracks that no one knows about, that you just stumble across. You have to do a lot of research on places like Trove, where you find out mine names that are bloody miles off up in the hills. And getting there is not easy. And that's why I've reduced my kit. I've reduced my kit down to the bare minimum. A good shovel, a small sluice, and some pans. I only need one pan, maybe a classifier and a snuffer bottle. That's all in there. That's all you need to prospect. Once you know where the gold is, you can bring more equipment up to mine. But for the time being, this is all I want. When I hike up into the hills though, I do not want to be carrying a big metal sluice. Even a small river sluice will weigh 4 or 5 times the amount of this. And the problem with that weight is by the time that you get there, doing a 50 shovel run through it after you set it up is incredibly difficult. Now it remains to be seen what this unit can do. This unit is obviously incredibly small, so I'm not going to be able to process as much dirt as what I can through my freshie. I've got my freshie in the car. I can go get it and I can move a lot of dirt, but I'm not mining, I'm prospecting. What I'm going to use this for is sampling. I'm going to set it up really quickly, throw 20 shovels through it and see what we get. The thing with 20 shovels for me is that works out to be roughly 6 pans of a MineLab ProPan kit. So there's roughly 3 shovels to a pan, and I'm talking 20 shovels, so it works out to be, I think, 6 pans, if my maths is correct. And 6 pans is a good number to tell you what kind of gold is in that ground. If there is enough gold and you don't want to keep looking for it and you just want to dig that section out, you can keep going. That's the thing. So what this has to be able to do is 6 pans worth of dirt in a reasonable amount of time. To break the numbers down for you, I can do a pan in approximately 1 minute, but it takes me about 4 minutes to dig a full pan's worth of dirt out and classify it. So 4 minutes plus 1 minute is 5 minutes, then the reveal and the sucking up of the gold takes me approximately another minute. So we're looking at 6 minutes per pan. So I have to be at 20 shovels through in less time than 6 minutes per pan. 6 sixes are 36. So in 40 minutes, I have to be able to dig 20 shovels through this. Do you reckon that's possible? Because I really do. Spent just a little bit of time setting this up. Quite a low flow little creek. I mean, if you look at it, I've built a wall here to channel the water so it doesn't fudge out over the grass or anything. And it's running. It probably won't self-clear as efficiently as if I had it set up somewhere over here where there's lots of high flow, but that's all right. I want to really test it and see how well it does work in a Grizzly's doing a zoomie in a much more low flow situation. Anyway, we moved spots because the last spot was just untenable. Here's where we're going to dig. Now the reason we're going to dig here is 2 reasons. This is actually a side creek, and this side creek goes up old mine workings. Just behind those trees you might be able to see some rock piles and whatnot that they did, but it goes up past mine workings and it runs up into a little feeder gully here, and then we've got the main creek here. I know that creek has gold in it. I don't know if that creek has it. Either way, this is a floodplain and we've got a nice gravel bar where the 2 creeks meet. So there's a potential for 2 different sources of gold, and we know that when it's in flood, which is floods are about the only thing that do move gold, we've got a low pressure point right here because of all the lovely big rocks. Let's get digging. Alrighty, you're a bit wet. That was roughly 20 shovels, and it took me exactly 10 minutes. So 10 minutes to shovel 20 shovels through the gator. That's 6 pans, so it should take me 40 minutes if I was panning normally. Now, they are my timings. I include those timings to move rocks and do everything else that I did on film in one continuous shot when I said about my panning time. So I know it's accurate. I know that pushing that through is obviously 4 times faster than panning. Little sluice box, little pan. Oh, we got some micro gold. I don't think you're going to be able to see it on camera, but there's about 5 or 6 little nano dots all in and around there. But that's not enough. We're not very deep, however. We're only a foot down, and the clay just started to change there. So we could go another 20 or so and see what happens, or we could just look for another spot. Took me 3 minutes to set that up. I'm a bit OCD. I had it right at the start, but I like to get things right. So I spent the extra time doing it, and you should really always do that. So what we're going to do, clear some more gravel now and run another test sluice, 20 shovels, see what's here. Same deal, 20 shovels worth of dirt. One bit of gold, a bit bigger than the other ones. You might actually be able to see that on camera, just there. There we go. So one bit, but I'm only punching overburden. I haven't hit a dense layer yet. I'm still working through the loose sandy soils. But we've had recent floods, like as of a couple months ago, and the water receded quite quickly after that, so you know that the flood gold's still going to be sitting there without much rain. That can go back to the ether because I don't care about one little bit like that, and we're going to keep prospecting. Before I get to the next spot, guys, I wanted to talk to you about how you could win one of these grouse little units. This one was kindly donated by Crop Gold. It's worth $300. That's a lot of money and a lot of power in a very small unit for you to take home. Anyone could win it anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you're from, and entering could not be easier. In the month of March, I am raising money for Beyond Blue. Beyond Blue is an organisation that helps people dealing with anxiety, depression and suicide, and it's incredibly important to me that we raise as much as we can so the people on the front line and some people's last resorts remain there to help them in their times of desperate need. To do this, I've got a lot of sponsors who have jumped on board, just such as Crop Gold, Gary Two Toes, and a whole heap of other people besides, that I will be chronicling during the month of February. You'll be able to see all the prizes individually. There are some fantastic ones coming your way. To enter, all you have to do is donate. You'll be able to donate from the 1st of March online or in person at my meet and greet on the 3rd of March. So from the 1st of March, my special video chronicling my stories will be launched. In that video, there will be some information on how you can donate. It's really easy. It's run through a company called My Cause. They're a not-for-profit, and they do fantastic work with a whole heap of different charities. I hope you can join me in sharing my video on the 1st of March to spread the message as far and wide as it can to help as many people as we can. Please like and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any of the prizes coming up, and so you can get involved with the fundraiser on the 1st of March. Found some breakfast. Some danger breakfast. I've already skilled myself like 3 times. Oh, I like those. Well, the fruit. I've said it before, I hate the tree, but the fruit's awesome. Grizzly doesn't mind them either. They're still a bit bitter. Not quite right. Hopefully they haven't been poisoned. You know you must be really remote out in the bush when the pungent odour of the marijuana is in the air. There's got to be something around here. Someone's doing something naughty. Doesn't this look like a likely spot? I got beautiful looking gravel sandwiched between two bits of bedrock. We've got a nice obstruction right in front of it, and all the fast water comes around it. So I reckon there's going to be worthwhile. Let's set the sluice up somewhere here. Get cracking. I'm about 10 shovels into this hole, and I'm finding it tricky to figure out what's just a big rock and what's bedrock, and that's obvious because there's a lot of big rocks stuck between two shelves of bedrock. This is why, though, that running a little sluice like this is better than test panning. Now, if I took test pans out of this, I'd probably give up after 2 or 3 because it's a lot harder work. 3 pans is going to take me roughly 15 minutes to do by the time I dig it out, classify it, pan it down, pan it off, and collect any gold that might be in it. And recheck my tailings and all that sort of stuff, is I can run 20 shovels through this in 10 minutes and get a much bigger sample size, which gives me more data to work with. Run 20 shovels through, I know that's roughly 6 pans worth of dirt, and what you're talking about is going, oh, I've got 5 specks in there, that's definitely not worth it. Or panning and getting one nice bit off the top and thinking there might be more, and you have to dig and pan and dig and pan and dig and pan. You might not get anything for 5 or 6 of them, and it takes you much longer, and then you lose hope. So this is a faster way of knowing if a spot is worth digging out. Absolutely nothing. I know there's gold on this creek because I've found it, but I'm surprised I found only like one little speck. There's got to be more. We're going to keep looking. We're not giving up. That's what prospecting is about. Never give up. Just look in another spot. Alright, this will be my last spot for the day. I'm going to do a big test run because I've got lots of little nooks and crannies with low pressure all running through here. So I'm not too fussed. If I can find gold in this area, then I'll be happy. But before I get to that, I just wanted to talk to you guys about gravity and go all Einstein on you. Gravity, it's a wonderful thing. It keeps us stuck to the ground, which means that we don't float up into space and have a really terrible time in negative 200 degree temperatures. But for sluicing, it's incredibly important. For every single method you've ever used to extract gold from the ground, it has required gravity other than a detector. But detectors don't count. It's really important for a fluid bed too. Let me explain. What we have set up here is a gravity trap. That's how these beds work. You're utilizing the fact that when stratification happens, that it oscillates the heavies to the bottom and the lights to the top. You need gravity to do that, and basically what I've got set up here is a really hardcore gravity trap. The water comes down and it wants to drop in elevation because the bedrock drops, so it wants to drop, but it can't because I'm forcing it through that sluice box. It has to continue along here, hovering above thin air. Now what that means is that the gold, being heavy, is forced right to the bottom of that sluice box. We've got a lot of down pressure and it drags everything along the bottom, just like how that leaf got stuck right there. Drags everything along the bottom. The second that the gold can drop deeper into that box, which is in that capture chamber, it does so, and it keeps going down. But it takes longer for lights to drop, which means that it gets ripped, the current will rip that across the top and spit it out the front here. Gravity trap, get on it. Well, we definitely added to it. A few more specks, a few more right pieces of gold. Well guys, what a cracker of a morning. It's meant to hit 40 degrees today, so I got out here nice and early. I was in the creek at 7 AM. It's about 9 o'clock now, so I spent 2 hours just piddling around. I did 5 or 6 different runs with the sluice, and worked a lot of dirt. Theoretically speaking, this unit could handle around 100 shovels an hour. Which is a lot of dirt with the right flow, right creek, all that sort of situation. And you could win yourself one of these to do just the same sort of thing that I did. It's not just the fact that you could use this to test in a remote creek. It's the fact that you could literally fit this thing in under your seat in the car. You could put it in a backpack, so you don't even have to carry it. It fits in a backpack. It weighs about as much as a large pan. So you've got a lot of processing power for a very small compact unit, and that is what it's about. That's where the future of mining is. If you want to be a good prospector, you need to know where the gold is, and taking large sample sizes is the most important thing you can do for that. So when it comes to your mining part of the operation, you can bring in your big gear, set it up in exactly the right spot, process just the dirt that you need to process and get out. It's all about cost efficiency and being efficient at processing that dirt. So we've found a little bit of gold. I've got all the gold in a pan that I have collected from this morning. We did, like I said, we did a lot of runs, so it looks like there's actually a decent amount of gold there. I'm really happy with that. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to hit subscribe so you do not miss out on any of the giveaways that are coming up in March. And as always, I hope to catch you out there sometime. I'm out.